Smart Culture, Mathematics.
By using the definitions of the reciprocal functions, two alternative trigonometrical versions of Pythagoras' theorem can be obtained. So this is where it becomes very, very interesting. So let's take a look at the first one. Here we have sine of theta squared plus cosine of theta squared is equivalent to 1. So let's see how this works. So what we'll do first is we will divide both sides by cosine of theta squared. So then we have sine of theta squared divided by cosine of theta squared plus cosine of theta squared divided by cosine of theta squared is equivalent to 1 over cosine of theta squared. Now remember, sine of theta divided by cosine of theta is equal to tangent of theta. So the sine of theta squared divided by the cosine of theta squared will be equal to the tangent of theta squared. Cosine of theta squared divided by cosine of theta squared will be equal to 1. They will cancel out. And here we have a reciprocal function. 1 over cosine of theta squared is equal to the secant of theta squared. So this is the first alternative version that we can use for Pythagoras' theorem. Let's take a look at the second theorem. So in this case, we'll divide both sides by the sine of theta squared. Let's start. Sine of theta squared divided by sine of theta squared plus cosine of theta squared divided by sine of theta squared is equivalent to 1 over sine of theta squared. So sine of theta squared divided by sine of theta squared will be equal to 1. They will cancel out. Here we have the cosine of theta squared divided by the sine of theta squared. Now remember, this is also equal to the cotangent of theta squared. And then after the equivalent sign, we have 1 over sine of theta squared. This is of course a reciprocal function, so it becomes the cosecant of theta squared. I want you to take note of the sign that we use here. Now remember, the equal sign with two lines means something is equal to something. The equal sign with 3 lines means that something is identical or similar to something, but not necessarily equal. Thus, a triple equal sign means equivalent. So this sign means equivalent. So we can say that 1 plus the cotangent of theta squared is equivalent to the cosecant of theta squared.
For online tutoring or additional resources, visit our website, www.smartculture-education.com.
Subscribe down below. It's easy.